Joining me now on this episode of Locally Sourced EP is Mr. Rick Isaias, the lead public affairs coordinator with the City of El Paso. Sir, thank you for joining me today.
Hey, Ray, thank you for having me today. I really appreciate your time. Yeah, lots to talk about today. And by the way, real quick, before we start, I love your hat.
Oh, hey, thanks, man. I had to keep it old school. So,
yeah, I love the old school, like the streetcar.
I had that. My old background was actually, I had the Adios season poster and the last pennant they gave out at Dudley Field. So I had those framed, and those were my background from the last from like I guess season 1 of Locally Sourced. So I'll shoot you a picture later so you can check them out. But no, well, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you and the City of El Paso, some of the events going on, some of the cool stuff coming back that's been back for a little while. And just a quick note, me and Rick go back a long time, man.
Long time. That's right. We worked at old Channel 4, I believe, right?
Old Channel 4.
Yes, which is not the CBS 4. It's the old KDBC 4, right?
Old KDBC 4, man. That's like the roots, man. It's where everything started for me, and not a lot of people know, but you're probably one of the few that really helped me grow as a photographer too, man. So
well, thank you. Appreciate that, Ray. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun in the old KDBC days. It wasn't too long ago. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago. Well, let's talk about some of the stuff going on in the city for sure, which is probably one of my favorite things, is that the El Paso Street Cars have been back and it started up again. Let's talk about that. I mean, when did they start back up again?
Yeah, Ray, the streetcar, yeah, it's iconic here in the city. I mean, it was for so long back in the 50s and 60s. So it's back again. It's back in service. It was out of service because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, the pandemic messed up a lot of things, but one of those was a streetcar. But now it's back in service. It came back in service at the end of July. So we're roughly just a little bit over a month that it's functioning. And so it's running on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and it's from 4 p.m. to right around midnight, just before midnight.
Cool.
And it's free. So yeah, it's back once again. I know some people really wanted to come back, and the city was able to maneuver some things around and make sure that it was safe enough to bring it back. And so now it's back.
Awesome. And then I think you said it real quick. You said one of the magic numbers that what's the cost right now to ride it?
So right now it's absolutely free until further notice. The streetcar is absolutely free. You just board, and then you don't have to pay or anything. It's absolutely free for everyone of all ages.
Nice. And then for those that maybe haven't been on it for a while or never experienced it, I mean, can you talk a little bit about the route that it takes downtown and around the downtown El Paso?
So if you don't know anything about the streetcar, I know some people, believe it or not, some people don't know. Back in like the 50s, 60s, and 70s, El Paso was booming with the streetcar. It was a form of transportation all throughout the downtown area, and it used to go into Juarez, and it go different areas too. Well, somewhere along the way, it kind of dissolved, and the city brought it back in 2015 or so. They started doing reconstruction of these old cars, and so these are original cars. They had stored them away in the airport area for a long time once the service was suspended, and now they brought them back. They renovated these vehicles, very amazing vehicles. They renovated them to kind of look similar to what they were back in the day. Really awesome. They took them to a place called a small town called Brookville. It's in Brookville, Pennsylvania, which is just outside of Pittsburgh. And there's a company there that specializes in renovating locomotive vehicles like these. And so they ship them out. They renovate them completely. They strip them out. And I have some pictures too, but and we have some on our website as well, on the city's website, some pictures of when they stripped them out. They put them all together. They did a really fantastic job. Took a while to get them done, brought them all back, and while they were renovating, they were laying down the track. So they put these on there, and sure enough, now they're back in service. They've been in service for a few years now, and of course, because of the pandemic, they weren't for a while. But to answer your question as far as like what it does, where it goes, so the streetcars, they go all around downtown. They go through parts of downtown, rather say, not all around, but parts of downtown. Mm-hmm. Then go up to what's called Uptown, and Uptown is basically your Cincinnati area. Your Cincinnati area, UTEP, the Don Haskins Center, and then also coming down, it goes down towards the hospitals that are along the route on Oregon. and it makes its way down to Southwest University Ballpark, and then it goes by both museums, the Museum of Art, Museum of History, and then it also goes through Segundo Barrio. So it kind of makes like a figure 8 in a sense, and it has 27 stops along the route, and they run about 20 minutes individually. There's about 4 streetcars throughout the day when they're riding during the operation hours from 4 to midnight. 4 of them kind of run throughout the different times, and just a lot of fun. If you haven't been on one, take the opportunity to do it. It's absolutely free, and it's just something to do. And it's Ray, it's a great way to learn more about downtown and to explore it without having to, maybe you don't want to walk, or maybe you don't want to ride, take your car, because sometimes, people say it's a mess downtown because they don't want to, or they're intimidated by driving downtown. Well, you can park your vehicle and take one of these streetcars and take it all around town and take your family. It's just a really, really fun time.
Yeah, the last time we rode on one was a little bit before actually COVID hit. When you guys were running a promotional like free on the weekends, we parked right outside at that parking lot right outside Don Haskins Center, and parked our car there and just hopped on one and kind of spent the day downtown. We ate pizza joint and things like that, just hung out at Santacito, and then rode it back up and got back in the car, just made a day out of it, man. I'm with you. I mean, if you haven't experienced that, I mean, if you want something to do with the family, that is something so cool to do. It's a cool experience to have your kids and yourself ride in this car that's been completely remodeled. And it's just like kind of goes to show you they don't make them like they used to, man. Because I mean, those things are, like you said, running in the 50s, and they stripped them down, and just the way they renovated them, it just looks so great. It's so cool.
And you're speaking about renovating them, what you just mentioned right now, they really are cool from the inside. So most people don't know this, but they have Wi-Fi inside the vehicle, so you can actually hitch a ride on one of these streetcars, and then you can hook up and get you can get Wi-Fi service. Of course, they have AC, and then they also have, if you have a bicycle, you can also jump on, and then they'll put the bike inside the locomotive, because they do have some space for these for bicycles as well. They have a bike rack, and that's also, and it's really, really cool.
And it just interrupt that your background is one of the streetcars.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm on the streetcar right now. I mean,
it looks so cool, man. Like I just like it. That's exactly how it looks, and it looks so cool. And if I didn't know you're on a streetcar, it almost double take to make it look like you're almost on a subway train in New York, man. It looks so cool.
Yeah, right. It kind of, and it has that feel. I don't know if it's subway, but it does have a feel, or it's just something different. It's something unique to El Paso, and definitely I recommend people just get on that streetcar, because it has Wi-Fi, and then of course. And if for our ADA community as well, I mean, these are ADA accessible. They're up to par. So
that's important.
Struggling, that's really important for that community to enjoy these amenities that our city has to offer as well.
Right, that's awesome. And then I know we talked a little bit about the streetcar and things like that, but I know we have to touch on that little procedure you guys have that are some of the requirements we have to ride. And it honestly isn't because of the city mandates, because of other mandates and federal mandates. Talk a little about, what kind of not restrictions really, but what is required to ride on the streetcar right now.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked me that. So right now, because of COVID and the pandemic, when you board a streetcar, you have to have a face covering, some sort of face covering, a mask of some sort, or else you will not be able to ride. And the reason is because it's a federal mandate, like you just mentioned right now. It's the federal government. It's a mandate from the TSA that they're asking everyone to, if you're on an airplane, if you're on a train, which this kind of constitutes as a train in a sense, then you have to wear a face covering. So please bring your face covering. Wear it when you're on board, and then once you get off, you can take it off if you want to be so choose. But just a reminder. So thank you for mentioning that. Yes, for sure.
I know, I want to be important that way, especially if someone's watching it, they're like, oh, I'm gonna ride the car, and then they're like, oh, you didn't say anything about a face mask, but at least you know now, and that way you're prepared, especially if you do take the kids.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And the kids too, not just adults, for kids too. I think it's 2 and up, but it's a requirement, federal law. It's not the city, it's not the state, it's not the county. It comes from the federal government. So just keep that in mind if you do ride that streetcar.
Oh, that's awesome. And then I know there's this coming weekend, there's quite a few things that you can use the streetcar. I believe you got the El Paso Comic Con coming this weekend. It's all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You can go to their website for any information on that, the elpasocomiccon.com. And then you also have, what else did we talk about? What else did you say, Rick, we had coming up?
So there's a few things coming. Of course, we have the locomotive plane, I
Oh, that's
believe.
right.
As
Yeah,
well.
you're right. I totally forgot about that.
I want to say it's the 11th of September. So they have there's a locomotive that are playing at Southwest University Park, and of course Comic Con. And just to give you a little insight as to what we're planning a little bit. So we're kind of working with the folks at Comic Con to make the streetcar experience a little bit better, and just to make it more fun and attractive for that weekend in particular.
Mhm.
So we're already in the legworks, and this is kind of a little breaking news here, if you will, whatever,
Yes.
right? But we're in the little bit of a process of getting the guys from the Ghostbusters team together to possibly get them out there to ride a streetcar or to do something with us. So keep an eye out for that. Visit the City of El Paso Facebook page, and of course the Instagram page, @El Paso, and the El Paso Streetcar Instagram page as well. So we're working a little bit with that, but then also, the locomotive, what I mentioned right now, they're set to play on the 11th of September, right? I believe it's the 11th. And so what you can do is you can ride the streetcar, park at the what is it, the Glory Road Transit Center, Transfer Center, park there, and then ride the streetcar down. It'll take you straight down to the game, and you can just hang out there just before the game, or make your way down there, catch the game afterwards, hang out downtown a little bit, and then maybe we'll take the streetcar back to where you're at. Avoid that traffic, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
there's some stuff like that, and then there's a few events happening that weekend. So I just want to mention too, now that you're talking about events, we're actually the streetcar has a lot of events planned, as far as like there's something that's called a read and ride. So if you have little kids, I think you have small children, right? I'm not sure if you do right now, but I think you do, right? So
yeah.
How old is your how old are your children or your kids?
My daughter's 11, and
Okay.
she'll be 12 in October. But then I have a 4-year-old son. He just turned 4 in June. So I mean, something like that would be great to take him. And
yeah, and so what a read and write is, I don't know if you've heard about it, right? But what it is, it's pretty much the El Paso Public Library. They'll find like a guest, I guess, reader, if you will, right? Somebody that reads a book, and then they'll hop on the streetcar, and then there's a like designated site where parents can hop on and then take their kids, and then once we get the streetcar, that's somewhat full, then they'll bring out a book and they'll read to the kids, right?
Oh, nice.
And
That is
the
awesome.
streetcar is en route, so they'll do a couple of routes, and then they'll read to the kids a couple of books, and every now and then they'll have different, I guess, guest readers, if you will. So it's a read and ride brought to you by the library, and it's also by the streetcar. So that's a fun activity that you can do during the morning. And they have special hours for that. So check out our social media sites for that.
Yeah, awesome.
And one real quick I want to tell you, Ray, too. Another thing that we have, I don't know, do you like music?
Of course.
Right? Who doesn't, right?
Yeah, right.
Especially live music, right?
So, live music, yeah.
So believe it or not, but we do have what's called a Trolley Tracks. And this is live music on the streetcar.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so we get together like a small band, or if not, a couple of musicians, singers, 2 or 3 of them, and they get on the streetcar beforehand, and they take a few routes. They take the route up and around a couple of times for at least an hour and a half, 2 hours, and they just play music. And it's absolutely free of charge. It's called Trolley Tracks. We have different guests from, most of them, actually pretty much all of them are local, which is even better.
That's even better. That's awesome.
So they can showcase their talents. So yeah, so that's another thing. So you have the read and ride, you have the Trolley Tracks, and then occasionally, not too long ago, speaking of the locomotives, we a couple of weeks ago we did a ride with Ozzy. If you know who Ozzy is, right?
Oh, the mascot for the locomotive.
Yeah, the bat. He's weird looking, right? But he's kind of cool. I mean, it kind of grew on me. So he rode the streetcar for about an hour, and he took it he did the whole route, met up with a few kids, that their parents decided to go on with some fans. We actually ran into a fan who was from I think he was from was it McAllen, I think. And they were playing the team from the McAllen area that day. And he had just moved about a month ago, and he was so excited because he saw the promotions on the streetcar, and him and his girlfriend got on there, and he was like a kid in the candy store. He's like, I love the streetcar, I love the locomotive. So it was great. So those are some of the things that we're working on doing.
That's awesome. And of course, like, if anyone, make sure you follow the city's Instagram social media. I'll go ahead and I'll include all that information in the description below. That way everyone can click on it and just follow you guys for sure. One more time, Rick, what are the hours, running time for, and the days and the hours at running time for the streetcar?
Yeah, for sure. So the streetcar runs Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 4 p.m. to about midnight. The last one kind of goes out at around, stops around 11:30, 11:45. So you may want to, to catch it before that. So, but yeah, and remember, you got to bring a face covering. It's absolutely free. Encourage everyone to really ride that streetcar. Take advantage of it. It's it's part of our community. It's for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Rick, I can't thank you enough for coming on and talking local stuff with, especially with the city of El Paso. And like I said, this weekend you got Comic Con, El Paso Comic Con. You got the locomotives, streetcar. The streetcar is free to ride from Thursday to Sunday. It's Thursday to Saturday. I'm sorry.
It's Thursday through Saturday.
Thursday through Saturday. I mean, it's just people say that there are always people saying there's nothing to do here in El Paso, but I mean, there's always something to do. So
there's always something to do. Yeah, there's always something to do, right? I mean, I agree with you. Always something to do. You just gotta find it sometimes, and so I encourage everyone, if you are looking for things to do, visit the city's Facebook page, the City of El Paso Facebook page. If you have Facebook, if you're on Instagram, or if you're on Twitter, it's @IAM_El Paso for Instagram. We always post events at least a week in advance so people can know what's happening in our city. So not only do we, talk about stuff that's going inside the city, or like, all of the movers and shakers and stuff like that, all the stuff going on within the city council and everything, but we also promote our city to make sure that people understand that our quality of life is important to us. And so you can find all those events there. So hopefully I'll see you on the streetcar.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm gonna try it. I'll make sure to take my face mask and my kiddos, and we'll hop on and maybe take a little ride, man. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe one of these days, you never know. We can do one of your casts on here, podcasts on this.
Oh, that's a deal. Right? That'd be cool for sure.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get that coordinated for you.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it, Rick. Thank you so much. Anything else you want to say right before we end today, man?
No, sir. It's just a pleasure always talking with you, Ray. I know we've known each other for quite some time, and you're an awesome person, and so I appreciate you doing this, informing the community like this. I think more people should do that, and this is a great outlet. So thank you for giving us the opportunity to do this, and I'll see you around, man. No joke. Well, one of these days we're gonna have to do something on a streetcar.
Sounds good to me, and I appreciate coming on, Rick. And it's always a pleasure. And it's I can't thank you enough for being on.
Yes, sir. You got it.